everybody! Thanks for joining us for episode 2 of Born in a Barn. Last time we talked about milking the cows, and at the end I promised we'd talk about all of the feeding of the animals. However, it turns out that Seth knows a lot, and there was too much information for one episode. So, today we are just talking about feeding the cows, and we will get to the calves next time. So, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the tunes, enjoy the information, and feel free to share. Let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, so for organic certification, there are a whole bunch of things you have to do, but one of the main requirements is that the animals have to spend some time on the pasture, out in the pasture.
Well, they need 30% of their diet is supposed to be pasture over the summer.
Okay, so what are you doing right now?
Switching the pastures because there's more grass in this one now. I've had them out of there for a while.
Okay.
So this is second crop hay, and it was put in the silo. So this stuff is wet feed, and so I covered that, and then this fermented as well. And now the silo unloader drills it down for me, and we run it onto the bunk feeder, and then the cows will come out and eat it.
Yep, it's going rolling. Emma finally woke up. You want to tell us what just happened?
I ground a batch of feed. This is high moisture corn, so it comes out of the harvester silo, which is all sealed, and so then the corn can ferment. And so this is at 22% moisture in here, and dry corn that like you put in a bin, that's at 15, so 22% will ferment. So everything's sealed in here, and it smells sweet, the corn does. And then I showed you what it looks like coming out of there. It's just cracked kernels, and then we run it through the hammer mill here, and it turns to powder essentially, but this just makes it more digestible for the cows. Well, that doesn't matter.
Nope, say it again.
A scoop of corn weighs about 8 pounds.
And they just eat a whole heap of silage. Like,
Huh?
they just eat a whole heap of silage.
Yep. And grass.
And grass, yeah. So you've been feeding silage, and it runs up this, over the bump, and down in. See it fall in there. And now you're putting corn on top. How much do you think a cow eats a day?
Somewhere between 85 and 120 pounds of food in a day.
85 to 120 pounds.
So this is mineral in here for the cows. So this is for the lactating cows, but the dry cows get a little bit of it when they go out too. But I have a different bag for the dry cows. So this is just supposed to balance all the minerals in forage. So we have haylage samples and corn silage samples. It's just supposed to even everything out so that the cows' intake is all balanced, and the big thing is to get them to come and eat so that we can breed them and get them pregnant again after they've calved.
Want to tell them what you're doing?
What am I doing? I'm feeding haylage. Sometimes once a day, sometimes more than once.
Third crop haylage sample that was run through the lab, and this is what I get back to look at to build my ration off of. And this one here, so this was in a silo, so it was 53% moisture. And then the main one, a main thing I look at is the protein, because that tells you how much corn I should be feeding and how much bought in protein I need to feed to get the most milk out of this feed I can. So this is at 18%, and the range for most haylage is 15 to 24, so that's not too bad. I like to be in that 20. The pH was 6.32, so that just tells you how acidic the haylage is, and you want low acidities for your cows. It's just better for mainly for their feet and their stomach too. And then the lignans, that essentially tells you how soft the hay is and how digestible this is. And this is a pretty good sample at 5.7, where 8 would be a medium. And then the calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and potassium down here, those are all what we look at for dry cows especially, but it's important for fresh cows and breeding back too. So that's where we determine our mineral. And the potassium is really important, that you don't feed too much to the dry cows, because that'll cause milk fevers and other calving issues. And then the sugar in this one, because it's fermented, we get 6% sugar in it, and normal for chopped haylage is right around 3. Then the back sheet here, this just gives you pretty much a basic breakdown of it, but your crude protein is 17.45, and the relative feed value is 136, and the feed quality is 151. So the difference between your feed value and feed quality, the feed value is essentially what nutrients are there, and then the feed quality factors in pretty much the lignans, how much they can eat and will be willing to eat of this feed. So the lower the lignin, usually the higher the feed quality, because they can just eat so much more of it. And then down at the bottom, they give you a estimated milk per ton of dry matter. So here, the estimated milk per ton of dry matter on this feed, which would be, so a ton of dry matter on 53% would be almost, you'd have to feed almost twice as much as what you're putting in front of them to get a ton. Mm-hmm. So anyways, per ton, this feed should give you 3,096 pounds of milk.
Cool. So from all this information, you decide exactly what to feed them.
Yeah, pretty much. This is all computer generated, and so it doesn't tell you everything. You got to look at the cows. They tell you more. Mm-hmm. My nutritionist says, I'll believe the cows before I believe the piece of paper.
There we go.
So this is my ration for my cows. So I don't guess, but you got to tailor it to your cows some. I mean, this is just what the computer tells us from my nutritionist. But so this first line here, that's the haylage that we were feeding out of the silo. And so this tells you how much milk potential there is, what you want to shoot for. So like on my fresh cows, I'm usually shooting for that 90, and a lot of times I get up into that 100 range. But so they need to eat 70 pounds of the second crop haylage to get 90 pounds of milk. and they need to get 21 pounds. This was back when I was still feeding dry corn. I didn't have the high moisture, so they need 21 pounds of dry corn to produce that 90 pounds of milk. And then they needed 5 pounds of my protein mix that I buy from the mill. And then the only thing that stays constant no matter how much milk they're getting is the mineral after they're fresh. So you can see that stays 1.33 pounds is what they need in order to come back and heat again and be able to get bred. So at 90 pounds of milk, they're supposed to be eating close to 100 pounds of feed a day. Well, my feed intake is a little higher than that, and part of that is they just eat more haylage. But the key is to balance your ration so that you don't have dietary issues with them.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is Harriet. She's 2.5 years old. She's dry right now, so she'll have a baby before too long here. This is Heath.
How old is she?
She's 2.5 also, and she's also dry.
How long before she'll have a calf?
This one within the next month. So, but
Do you know who's back there?
that's history.
History?
Yeah. She's 3 years old. She just had her second calf now, so she's probably 20 days fresh now. So, seen so gingerly. That's Clover with a K. This is Tiny.
Tiny?
Tiny, yep. She's 5 years old now, and I don't know what else to say about it.
Okay.
Oh, I know, you're just so worn out from doing nothing.